Okay. All right, here's where we are right now. I jumped ahead a little and put spots on his neckerchief, and you'll notice up here that it's now blue instead of yellow. It being yellow just clashed too much with the yellow down here. So that was just too much yellow, so I repainted this blue up here. And remember I said that a lot of these colors are hard to paint over? Well, yellow is one of those colors too. And blue, the blue that I used, was sort of semi-transparent. So it took 6 repaints to get this yellow color that was up here covered up. All right? It just takes a long time. So anyway, what we're going to do today is finish this thing up. I went ahead and attached his earrings. You can see the little brads that I put on there to hold them on. And then a little spot of super glue put everything together, so they're never coming apart. He's basically done except for the beadwork on the band up here, so that's what we're going to do now. Okay? So let me put this back in the window. We use this to shield out the light. It comes in there, it gives a better video. And we'll take him apart here. Hopefully this will be the last time we take them apart. Flip that over. Take this off. That. Move this bottle over here. All right. Now, I went through my book. And if you look over here on my little shelf, see all those books? They are just full of reference material. Now if you could turn around here and look the other way, Judy, you don't need to do that.
No.
But anyway, there's a, well here, I'll show you. It's covered up by stuff. This is reference material. Just tons of it. That's, to me, what the hell's going on here? To me, that's what is fun for wood carvings. Underneath these jackets and shirts is a Mountain Man capote that I bought at a Mountain Man Rendezvous once, and I use that when I do mountain men. Judy comes down here, she puts it on, I take a few photographs, and it works out pretty good. We got cowboy chaps around here. We've got lariats up here. There's just reference material all over the place as Judy shakes her head saying, you're moving around so fast people can't even see. Well, that's probably a good thing because they can't see how dirty and dusty this place is. Anyway. I pulled this out. First I was looking at this up here, this bead pattern. This is from an old advert I had in a magazine. I like that bead pattern, but I wanted to do something different. So I decided on to give it a blue background, and although this is pretty large design, bead-wise, I like the colors. So that's what we're going to do, okay? So, to put that pattern onto my bead, I went and I made me a little cutout here of the triangle that's going to go on here. Because if you try to freehand it, you know, maybe you're pretty good. Maybe you're better than I am. I don't have any doubt that a lot of you out there are much better than I am. But anyway, I took a triangle and I laid out my little pattern here. So I just took it and I laid it on here and drew a couple pencil lines. Then I laid it on here. You can see my pencil lines. And drew a couple more. And then I drew a couple more here. So they're all even, which is important. And what I'm going to do is, you can also remember I told you that about the only way you can really cover up things paint-wise is to start off with a coat of gray. I got some here. It's just that it's so darn cold down here. My paint is That big bubble there. Paint is kind of solid. I'll give it a couple shots of water and shake it up. This is hammered iron, just gray. Alright, so let's squeeze out a little. And then I'm going to cover up that blue where my design goes. Old Shaky. When I was overseas in Ghana, working at the embassy, the diplomatic couriers would stop on their way, taking classified material and equipment and things around, well, they go all over the world. But on the African trips, they'd bring it over and stop in Accra, in Ghana, where we were, and use that as sort of a step-off point to go to other area embassies in the countries that surrounded Ghana. Old Shaky. And saying Old Shaky reminded me that when they came over there, they serviced out of Accra, which is the capital of Ghana where the embassy is. They serviced the surrounding countries, like I mentioned, and some of the country. There was Monrovia, Abidjan, Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso, Lomé, Togo, Dahomey. Well, a lot of times they would fly this plane, it was an old DC-8, from Accra up to Ouagadougou, which is the capital of Upper Volta at the time. Like I said, now it's known as Burkina Faso. I don't know why they changed the names. I like Upper Volta better than Burkina Faso. Anyway, they flew this old DC-8, and they always referred to it as Old Shaky, because it wasn't a question of if it was ever going to crash. It was just a question of when. And it eventually crashed, killed everybody on board. Fortunately, the diplomatic courier was not on that flight. So Old Shaky met its end, unfortunately. I could tell you all kinds of stories about what goes on overseas. All right, where are we? We gotta let this wait. Gotta let this wait. Yeah, we gotta let this wait until it dries, and I'm gonna speed that up a little bit with this hairdryer. That's all right, huh? Now, are you still recording? You see up here on this little thing up here, one is light blue, and then back here's another color, and back here's another base color. So what I'm going to do is we're going to paint this one white, and I'm going to start out with this parchment color. Because I think it's a little more opaque than the white. Hopefully it won't take so much. But you can, if I did a little experiment here and tried to paint this white over the blue, you could see what I mean about how one color affects. God, stop talking, man. How transparent white is over a darker color, but I'm not going to do that. Screwing up enough as it is. This time I'm going to be a little smarter and use a liner brush to get a nice straight edge on here. Again, these liner brushes, because the brush part is so long, it absorbs the shock of your hand. Believe me, I need all the absorption. God damn. Excuse my language. I'm going to have to cut that out, probably won't, but I ought to. Now, where was I? Okay.
Liner.
I gotta stop laughing. Ah, it's too funny. I'll tell you this other story. It's really funny. Concerning couriers and embassies overseas. Again in Accra, Ghana. I had to go out and meet the courier coming in. This was back in the real early 70s, probably in 1970, around that area right there, because we went over in '69. Let me get this point here. And at the time, well, the courier still took Old Shaky, but anyway, we're not going to talk about Old Shaky this time. See, that covers that pretty good. Probably one more coat will do it. So I'll sit that there. At that time, they were flying Pan Am. Pan Am flew out of New York City, and they flew hedge-hopped across Africa all the way to Nairobi. And then they would turn around and fly back. And they'd hit not all the embassies, but they'd hit Monrovia. They'd land, well, first of all, they'd land in Dakar, Senegal. Then they'd go to Monrovia. And then they'd go to Accra, where we were. Then they'd go to Lagos. And then they would go to Kampala, Uganda. And then they would go to Nairobi. And they'd overnight there, turn around and fly hedge hop all the way back. Well, anyway, one day the ambassador in Accra, Ghana, came in and Let me see here, what are we going to paint the next one? Oh, I was going to use a green color. What do you think?
Check it against the neckerchief.
Check it against the what? Oh, that's all right. We'll use this one. The ambassador came in my shop. He says, Lynn, I've got a real important dispatch coming in from Kinshasa. Well, that's also, they stopped at Kinshasa too, Zaire. And I said, okay. He says it's going to be in that courier pouch that's coming in from Nairobi. So I said, okay, I'll keep my eye out for it. So I go out to the airport. I'm looking for this special pouch, diplomatic pouch from Nairobi. And I found it. Guess where it was? It was sticking out from underneath a cage at Pygmy Hippo. And it was soaked in hippo urine. So I took it back to the embassy. I never told the ambassador why it was wet. He asked me, is it raining out there? I said, yeah, there was a little sprinkle. That was funny. Let me pick up that overpaint. But like I say, there are many stories about what goes on overseas. I didn't know what the dispatch was. Certainly it wasn't about that lady hippo. Pan Am was the big airline then. They had two flights out of New York. It was Pan Am 1 and Pan Am 2. Pan Am 1 flew from, I think, I might have them reversed, but Pan Am 1 flew from New York to New York, around the world. And Pan Am 2 went the other way. And they would meet, the two flights would meet in Beirut, Lebanon. And that was our first tour. And we would go out and meet the flight coming in, both flights coming in. And we had a big courier exchange at the airport where the pouches were passed back and forth. It was interesting. The things you would see coming on that plane. Birds from all across countries in the east. Like Thailand, those countries. Should I paint green over here or pick another color? Let's do green on both sides. And they'd offload them there, and it was interesting. I loved going out there when that flight came in. Because there was just so much going on out there. I had a very interesting job. Hard work, but it was sure interesting. There's that little brush again. Anyway, hope I'm not boring you with all these stories. Let's just see what that looks like. What do you think? Okay. All right, now. Red iron oxide. The color they supposedly discontinued. Fortunately for me, I have 2 bottles of it here. A friend of mine sent me some years ago when, for some reason, red iron oxide was not available around here. And someone was kind enough to send me some bottles of it, which I really appreciated. Let me get that out of here. I'll start painting it. So, look at the design there. Make sure I get my brush dry. When you do that, you know, and you'll get that brush dry, you'll always get some water up here farther on the ferrule. You can actually see one right there. See, it was on my finger. And it'll sit there and slowly drip down. And you'll be painting along. And then that water will hit this. And it'll take your paint and just go. So always, always remember to kind of roll it around and get that water off of there. Just a little tip there. I think. Going to use a liner brush that's even longer to absorb my shakiness. Ah, come on. So I think you could see right there is the beauty of these brushes, what they'll help you do. See, I could never do that with a regular brush. Looks nice, huh? Man, I'm shaky. This morning we went out for breakfast and I came home. We're supposed to have this big winter storm come through, where in Oklahoma, that's unusual when the weather temperatures drop so far, and I think we're supposed to get down to 0, possibly even below that a little, and that's unusual for around here. What?
-19
Hmm? Well, I mean, there have been times when it's been really cold, but it's still unusual. So anyway, I went out and took all the batteries out of all our equipment around here. The tractor, lawnmowers. Carting those things around, man, they're heavy for an old man. You just can't do what you used to do. Interesting. Well, I've got one spot there I need to fix. There we go. Now with a little black. Let's give you some on my brush here. Well, that makes it look a lot better, don't it? A liner brush. Go buy you a couple of those. I keep all sizes around here. They work good. Okay, we got our red. Now we're going to put some yellow on there. Yellow. First I'm going to dry that out. And I have a little brush here that I cut off square. See how I cut off the end square? And I'm going to use gray. to like that. Okay, I'll let that dry. Let's take a break. I'm just putting some finishing touches on this. Judy went off up to the house a minute ago, so I just went ahead and did some final touch up on there. Most glaring spot. Oh yeah, I want it to be black. Hmm? That looks pretty good. So we'll let that dry. Get it out of my hand. Okay, so it's all painted now. The only thing left to do now is to glue the hat to the crown, to the head, and everything, and varnish it. So that'll be the next step, and we'll do that here after lunch. So I'll be talking to you here in just a little bit. Okay, before I glue everything together, I just want to show you this little cork. Someone asked me, where do you get your corks at? Well, just get on the internet, search for bottled bottle topper corks or just something like that. And you'll find them. They come, you know, I can't remember exactly where I got them. These work out real nice because they have a little post hole through there. And I used a little dowel to go down through here into the cork. That way it's good. It's on there good and solid. And you get a whole bag of them when you order them. They don't cost very much. Hobby Lobby might even have them. I don't know, but anyway, they're not hard to find. Okay, to glue him up, I use this two-part epoxy, 5 minutes. That way I don't have to wait around for it to dry. I'm very impatient. So I'll squeeze out some here. And this stuff is very forgiving. By that I mean it doesn't matter if you get your mixture off just a little. Let that settle. That's about it right there, I think. Yeah, I'll give it just a bit more.
Oops.
And I just use a toothpick to stir it all up. But always remember, you only have 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, it's going to start setting. You don't want to have to make a mad dash to Mount Walmart or to Home Depot because you ran out of glue at a critical moment, or you got too much on there at a critical moment, and it's happened to me before. Anyway, I'm putting a big dollop here right in the middle, like that. And then I'll put it on the hat. Turn it around to where it matches my thing, which is about right there. Okay? So that's not going to go anywhere. And then I'll put some down that hole right there. Put me a dollop right there in the middle. Okay. Find the center of the design. Set it in there like that. Turn him upside down. Let him sit there like that. Now the feather, I'm not going to glue the feathers on until the varnish is dry, and then I'll use some super glue to put that on there. So I'll have to throw that away before I glue the head onto here. So we'll just wait a while. If you look back on my videos, you'll probably find one on making these bottle stoppers, how I made these. These are just beer bottles that I've picked up out along the front of our property. The guy's constantly tossing them out the window, trying to bust them in our ditch, aiming for the rocks, jerks. But you know, people throw a lot of trash in our front of our property. It just irritates the hell out of me. But I was out there one day picking up trash, and I found a $100 bill laying on the ground. So they more than paid me for picking up that trash. Someone was sad that day, I'll know. Anyway, I just cut off the top of the beer bottle. It's very simple to do. I made it. I even show you how to make a little jig to do that. It's very simple. And then I just cut me some wood blocks. With the Forstner bit, I drilled a hole in here to accommodate the bottle, put some silicone down on the bottom of it, put that in there, and you can see them around here. I use them to hold carvings in the process, and it works out real well. Now, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, remember I said we're going to do a full figure. Well, here's what we're going to do. This is the next video series that's coming up. I did this Indian here a long time ago. This is before he was painted, and it's one of the best Indians I've ever done, as far as I'm concerned. It just captures so much character, emotion even, and it wasn't that difficult to do. And that's generally the way things work out. You know, you think you're working really hard on something, and you can never get it the way you want it. But then you work something else. You just sit down someday and you just start, and it finishes, and you just, gee, that wasn't very hard to do at all. And boy, did it turn out great. And this is one of those. So anyway, I thought we'd start out with this. The body's a simple thing. You don't have any arms. Well, I mean, he has arms, but it's covered up by the robe. So it'll just be easy. The legs down here, they're there, so you can see his moccasins. And if you look real closely, you can even see the breechcloth hanging down underneath here. It's just the body will be very simple to do. The head, that'll be the most difficult part, but we'll take that slow, and I'll explain it fully when we go through there. So anyway, that's what we're going to do next, and it'll be a nice figure. It's a good sized figure. He's standing on a base that looks like he's standing in snow, cold day. It'll be a pretty little thing by the time you're finished. So anyway, that's what we're going to do next. So that other glue's set up. Now I'm going to squeeze out some more here to put the neckerchief to the body, or to the head, excuse me. So I'll squeeze me out some more here. That's about right. Get me a toothpick. And mix them together. Okie doke. I'll give me a big old dollop there. Just put it right around the inside of that. Got Andy in here. Set him in there. Line up everything. And I forgot my bottle. Okay, I want to make sure I got my braids equal, space equal as much as I can. There we go. We'll just let that set. Got everything lined up here. Just touch it. Use. Come on, you booger. That's it. I'll leave just like that. We'll let that set up. It's already going off. It goes off really quick. I mean, it starts getting thick. You want to get it on there when it's really runny, and right now it's soft, but it's already going off. So that's that. So all we have to do now is we have to let everything harden up good, and then varnish it. And we'll do that here in just a little bit. A little bit to us, but even faster for you. Okay? See you in just a bit. Okay, we're down to the last step. I've got my carving over here, the feathers, and some other stuff. So Judy can come in closer, and that way you can see better. So, just let me say a few things. If you use super glue, I got this down at Lowe's. It's okay. We live far, 50, 55 miles from Joplin, Missouri. That's our closest big city. Normally, I go to a hobby store, the old style hobby store in Joplin to buy my super glue because they carry a brand that's very thin, which I like. This I got at Lowe's. It's okay. It'll get me by in a pinch, but I'd much prefer going to a hobby shop than to get my glue because it's just better. Just a little tip there. Okay. I went ahead and sprayed my feathers with this. Got both sides of it. Turned out great. Now to paint the figure, the last thing I want to paint this figure with, varnish this figure with, is this. Why? Because something like this that's flat, has no real definition to it, like a figure here. You can spray that and get a nice even coat on it, which I have here. You can't do that with a figure like this and a can of spray. Because if you spray this on here, it's going to get a lot of stuff right there on his nose, on his chin, on his lip, right down through there. If you spray it over here, it's going to get a lot of it here, down here, down here, down here. It's never going to be even. The only way you're going to get an even coat of varnish on a three-dimensional carving like this is to brush it on. You can't. That's pretty good. You can't use spray, or you're going to get an uneven finish on it. Just my tip. And even this here, when I use this here, it's kind of shiny, so I use something else to kill that. Here, let me go get it. Right here, this is called Dull Coat. I got it at Hobby Lobby. Cost me $5.79. This is a lacquer. And what I'm going to varnish my carving with is Minwax, which is a polyurethane mineral spirits based, not based, but I mean mineral spirits will clean that up. But this isn't lacquer. If you put too much of this on this, this is going to dissolve this. So you have to use this very sparingly. But I went and got the wrong one. Hang on here a minute. Here's the can I was using. If you put this on something first, you can use this to cut the shine, which is what I'm going to do. So This is almost out, but it's got enough in. So you just want a real light coat on it. Something that's not going to affect the underlying color. And anyway, you can see already, see what it's doing? Here it was when it went on. See what it does when it dries? It flattens everything. Guys use that stuff to, kill the sheen of paint on their plastic models. So I'm just going to set this out here. But anyway, here's what I use for my carvings. You can see in here, see that nice amber color? Sometimes you'll get this if it's a fresh can. I've got some other cans over there. When I open up, this will be clear. Over time, it'll turn amber. Some people might not like an amber color. I like it. It just has something of an effect on the colors on the piece that makes it look warm, inviting. People want to touch it, and I put it right in their hands if they look like they're interested. It just works for me. As far as brushes go, I go down to Walmart or Lowe's someplace. I think they're cheaper over at Walmart, and buy about half a dozen of these. They're China brushes, but they're bristle brushes, and they're brushes. And I get them home. I open up take the little plastic cover off, and I give them a real workout with my hands to bust free any loose hair. You can see that they're not top quality, but they're good enough for what I'm going to use it for. Just dib a little in here and slop it on, especially on the face, because there's so little paint on that face that this is going to just soak this stuff up like a sponge. And I put it on there real heavy. And you watch, I'll come back later and I have to add some more because it soaked it all up. And even though I sit there and tore that apart, almost with my hands, getting rid of those fibers, they'll still come off, so you got to watch out for it. See, it's already soaking in. See there on the nose, how flat it is? So I'll put some more on there. And in a way, by this varnish soaking into the wood, it strengthens that wood too. Just brush it out evenly all the way around. There's another one. And there's another one. Wasn't so quick on that one, was it? See how it's soaked into the face? After you get it all varnished, you'll want to stop and go over it real closely looking for those brush hairs. And don't think by buying a real good brush, you're going to solve the problem of the occasional hair coming off and messing up your carving. It's going to happen no matter what kind of brush you buy. Now here on the neckerchief, it's got so much paint on it. It's the same up here with the beading. I'm going to have to come back with this here to kill that shine. I don't want that to be real shiny. You can use these brushes about 3 or 4 times before you just toss them into the trash. They're not any good after that. They'll get stiff. See up here on the hair where the end grain comes up and it pulls that varnish down to where out here on the edge where there is no end grain, it'll stay shiny. And where it's got heavy paint on it, like on the red of the braids there, how it'll stay shiny. Up here on top, see how it soaks in? And there's another hair. Okay, so what I do now is I'll go clean my brush and then I'll come back again. Look at that, the face is completely flat again because it's soaked in all of it. I'll come back and do something, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, it's been about 2 or 3 minutes since I walked off to clean my brush. I went now and I got me a piece of paper towel. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to wipe off my carving with this paper towel real gently. I don't want to apply any pressure to it. Don't use a cloth if you do this. Don't use toilet paper. Use a paper towel. And then just gently wipe off the excess. It's been on there long enough to where it's soaked in and you can wipe off the excess. You won't get down into the deep crevices or anything, but that's okay. You'll get rid of a lot of it, especially on the areas where there's lots of paint. You put lots of paint on there. You want to wipe those down pretty good. But again, just use a paper towel and lightly do it, or else you're going to get fuzz all over your carving from a cloth or anything. The shine will come back up, but that's okay. There we go. See how much deeper the colors are? Now for a final touch, I won't show you this, but for a final touch, after everything is dry, probably tomorrow I'll come back down. I'll mix me up a little bit of epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean a real little bit. And with a toothpick, I'll dip it into the epoxy and very gently I'll apply it to the black here. And I'll do it in such a way I won't touch the upper eyelid or the lower eyelid, just the center. If you do that, just the center, it'll leave a little bitty perfect spherical spot to where it'll pick up that little highlight from the light up there, it will move across the eye if you move your carving, just twist it around, and it makes the carvings just come alive. It's better than putting a white spot on there, because a white spot won't move. But that little drop of epoxy will turn that eye into a glass eye. Believe me, it works. Okay, so he's done. So now I can take this and screw it down. Just let him sit there till tomorrow. My feathers have dried from the spray of this. They're nice and flat. They have a very flat sheen, which is fine. That's what's going to come to the to this part. And where there's a bright shine, like on the beading strip right there, or the neckerchief, I can kill that with this stuff here by just very lightly putting a little bit on there. Okay? So I think he turned out pretty nice. It's nice and colorful. The beading looks good. It's a nice way to get rid of an excess head. So, with this one, this series, that's the end of it. I hope it's been of use to you. It's been fun doing it. I'm not ashamed to say I'm glad it's over, because these things, you know, what normally would take me a day and a half or 2 days at the most, takes about a week to get done, and it's just a chore, but we enjoy doing it. So anyway, I hope you stick around for the next one when we do that full-bodied Indian, because I think you really have fun doing it. So until then, I'll talk to you later.